See what happens
They're not
when you let a
working.
lot of realtors into the room?
Test, test. Okay.
I call this meeting to order of the Marshalltown City Council. We're in the City Council chambers at 10 West State Street. It's April 13th, 2026, and it is 5:33 p.m. Let's have the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you. Can we have roll call, please?
Cahill? Here. Fonseca? Here. Mitchell?
Here.
Nichols?
Here.
Schneider?
Here.
Thompson?
Yes.
Yepes Gomez?
Here. Okay, moving on to public comment. Members of the public may make comments on any item that was not on the agenda during this time. The speaker shall approach the microphone and state their name and address. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes unless a longer comment is authorized by the mayor. The speaker shall direct comments to the mayor and the council as a whole. The mayor and the council may provide a response to a public comment, but shall not engage in discussion or debate on the items raised by members of the public. No action may be taken on items raised in public comment to comply with open meetings laws. And with that, the microphone is yours.
All right. Austin Gillis, Executive Director at Animal Rescue League Marshalltown. I just wanted to take a minute and let everybody know that we had our annual Fur Ball fundraiser this weekend on Saturday at Midnight Gardens, and to say it was a success would be a huge understatement. Last year we set a goal of $100,000 and we beat that by almost $20,000. This year we set a very, very difficult goal of $125,000, and right now we are currently sitting at $137,000 and some change. So I just wanted to call and say, or come up and say thank you to the community. Thank you. For all their continued support, the council and everybody else that's involved with the partnership that we have with the Animal Rescue League, and I think that we can continue to do that, make things bigger and better, and continue to improve our outreach, and just wanted to give a resounding thank you for that.
Thank you, Austin.
Hello, name's Dalton Dillingham. I am currently managing Center
You
Street
need
Bar.
to give your address too.
Oh, 19 North Center Street.
Thank you.
I am currently managing, working under Johnny. I have currently bought the Center Street Station building and am in the process of taking over the bar and changing the name and everything. So,
Good luck to you.
thanks.
Free drink?
Hello, sirs and ma'ams. My name is Mike Wickham, home address 2704 Lincoln Way. I'm the head of the Taekwondo program for Marshalltown Parks and Rec. Kelsey had asked me to pass on to the council. You're looking for good news. Recently, the Marshalltown Parks and Recreation Taekwondo program was recognized at the 51st Annual Martial Arts Banquet as the outstanding martial arts school of the year. And if I may approach, if you'd like to look at this.
Sure.
There are other clubs involved in other disciplines such as Hapkido, Judo, Taekwondo, and we are looked upon with good participation through the Pak family martial arts. The students we have are outstanding within our club, and the fact of the matter is we do stress to all of them, young and old alike, follow tenets, courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, indomitable spirit. Very fortunate too with especially the advanced group of all the students who are there. They're taking advanced schoolings and A averages. So we've been very fortunate. I would also be remiss, while my name is there at the top, really, I would be remiss if I didn't give a large amount of credit to my senior instructor, Master Tammy Airy, who her help, leadership with new students really puts them on a good track to move forward and be successful with what they do. We've been very fortunate. I've started 2014. Chad Weir got me in. From 2014 to 2024, in 10 years, we moved forward with 10 black belts. And right now, we're at the largest amount of student populace. We're at 31. So 18 beginners and 12, actually 13 in the advanced club. So if anyone has questions, I'm open. I don't know what my time is, but I can answer them if they need be.
Can I ask one?
Okay.
How old is your youngest?
The youngest would be 7.
Only asked because my grandson is taking ninja classes, as he calls them, at 4. A whole new group to work with.
It's nothing against those. What I found, if you start at 6 or younger, your greatest movement forward is, hey, Mom and Dad, do we go to McDonald's afterwards? And do we go somewhere to eat? So, any other questions of the council?
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. You, by the way, our classes, feel free. I know some have popped over. Mr. Thompson's popped over. They are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 7:30 to 8:30 on our advanced, and our beginners are Tuesday, Thursday, 6:30 to 7:30. So feel free to pop your head in. Thank you.
Thank you. Microphone is still open.
Good evening. My name is Michael Merritt. I live at 2510 South 6th Street, D24. I could probably articulate a bunch of historical data, but I felt it more necessary to come here to communicate a story. I was in the Navy 20 years. I was a cryptologist for my first 9 or so, and I was in IT my last 11, information warfare specialist. And while I was in the baton, I was halfway through my career. I was probably overconfident, and we were doing destruction of our EKMS keys. The keys are what we utilize to encrypt and decrypt the SATCOM circuits that provide all the communications for the platform that we're on and whatnot. And during the course of destruction, I was working with one of my coworkers, and we inadvertently destroyed a key about an hour and a half early before it was due to be superseded. And then Murphy's Law, being what Murphy's Law is, the SATCOM circuit that utilized that key went down. So I was on the USS Baton. I was working for Chief Meadows, Lee Meadows. You can look him up on Facebook. Just look for a big African-American gentleman. You'll see him in Navy Chief uniform. But so when that circuit went down, I was on the USS Baton flagship of that ESG with a Marine, with the Marines on board, probably several thousand people. Big, huge tactical strategic responsibility. And when the circuit went down, we lost our primary IP path, which provided the ship internet, voice, everything. So I sat down at my desk and I realized that my career was over with because I had committed a critical flaw within my responsibilities, and everyone else was rummaging around trying to figure out whether to blame it on weather, attenuation, how to get through the next 40 minutes so we could just load the new key. So I was sitting at my desk. I was like, that's not adequate for me, because if somebody were to die or something were to happen in that 40 minutes, that's on me. And I've always firmly believed that I'd rather burn in the moment than burn in eternity. So I went up to my Chief Meadows, Lee Meadows, and I went up to him and I in more passionate nautical language that I won't, speak here, articulated that we are down on our primary IP path because I messed up. And I don't recall him saying anything to me, but he more or less turned around. He went to the vault. I ended up actually teaching EKMS to the managers across the West Coast. He went to the vault, got a secondary key, issued it, and that was the end of it. And we reloaded the circuit. It was back online, and there were some more things that went down later that if I had more time I would get into. But I think what I'm trying to communicate here is when enlisted people, officers, we do our duty for 20 years, we do it honorably, and we come back and the civilians that we serve produce evidence of putting non-factual data on court documents or put erroneous information on mail servers to charge higher prices for public records fees. It's just disappointing. I did my job. I did it well, I think. And when I came home, I wanted to be a part of this community, and I still do. But it disappoints me that other than City Clerk Hunter and Administrator Webb, who I really greatly appreciate the time they've given me to talk to me. I'm out of time, but I appreciate you not interrupting me this time, Mayor, but I appreciate all your service. It disappoints me that I've never heard from any of you, most of you. I understand the circumstances regarding the work I do and the responsibilities you have, but I just want to respectfully communicate my disappointment, and I hope that things get better in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lee Botter, 401 Orchard Drive. I want to sing praises for our fire department. It was a little over a couple weeks ago. We had a false CO2 detector go off, and needless to say, it was at my son's home. I freaked out. We called the fire department, and our crew over there, they arrived very promptly. Just wonderful. They came in and they didn't make me feel like an idiot, to be real candid. And it was just a false alarm. Thank goodness for that. But we have an amazing fire department. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Anyone else? Okay. Moving on to Mayor, Council, and Administrator comments. Does anyone have any comments? Carol?
I have one, Your Honor. I had two good news items for this evening, one of which was the Taekwondo program, which is fine. I did want to mention, I don't think he mentioned this, but Kelsey did say that they also do an excellent job with our Special Olympics Taekwondo program, so I wanted to recognize that. And then also I'll mention that our firefighters just won the team stair climb at the Fight for Air Climb for the third year in a row. This is a fundraising event for the American Lung Association, so congratulations to our firefighters.
Yeah.
Third year in a row.
Is that all?
That's it.
Okay. Next, I am going to read a proclamation. It was requested by Councilor Melissa, and it has to do with the real estate agents that are here. So let's get at it. Whereas April 26 marks the 58th anniversary of the passage of the Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, commonly known as the Fair Housing Act, which enshrined into federal law the goal of eliminating racial segregation and ending housing discrimination in the United States. And whereas housing is a human right, and affording a home is part of the American dream. And whereas equal opportunity for all to buy and rent a home without regard to race, color, religion, sex, disability, or family status or national origin is a fundamental goal of our nation, state, and municipalities. And whereas our social fabric, the economy, health, and environment are strengthened in diverse, inclusive communities. Whereas we recognize Fair Housing Month, it is timely that we reflect on the importance in communities, states, and the nation to affirm civil rights and oppose discrimination. And whereas only through continued cooperation, commitment, and support of all Iowans can barriers to fair housing be removed. And whereas Marshalltown, Iowa is committed to the mission and intent of the Fair Housing Act to provide fair and equal housing opportunities for all. And whereas the local government of Marshalltown supports the education of home buyers, realtors, landlords, property managers, and tenants regarding their rights and responsibilities under the Fair Housing Act. Whereas Marshalltown, Iowa recognizes the need to firmly promote fair housing in its policies and practices and will work to identify and remove impediments to fair housing choices. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that I, Mayor Mike Lodioff of the City of Marshalltown, do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Fair Housing Month. Let's go do a picture.
Thanks, guys.
Could have done a shorter proclamation, Melissa. Okay, moving on to consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Fonseca? Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Yepes Gomez?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to motion number one.
Motion to approve a 5-day Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service for the Marshalltown Central Business District for Live After 5 on May 15th.
Move to approve.
Fire a second.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Anything from the public? Roll call, please.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Yepes Gomez?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Fonseca? Yes.
Okay, motion number two.
Motion to approve a Class E retail alcohol license for Har Shiva Inc. at 613 North 3rd Avenue.
Move to approve.
Fire a second.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Yepes Gomez?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Fonseca? Yes. Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Very well. Moving on to motion number three.
Motion to approve an 8-month special Class C retail alcohol license for Brewster's Inc. at 901 South 6th Street for the operation of the softball complex concession stand.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Yepes Gomez?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Fonseca? Yes. Mitchell?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to resolutions.
A resolution approving an agreement for the 2026 RAGBRAI overnight town event.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Your Honor, this item approves an agreement for Marshalltown to serve as an overnight RAGBRAI host community in 2026. It outlines the respective roles of the city, the Chamber of Commerce, and RAGBRAI. It allows planning to move forward while preserving the city's normal authority over public services, public spaces, and permitting. It positions us to host this major event that can bring visitors, visibility, and economic activity to Marshalltown.
Okay. John, do you have any comments?
Good evening. John Hall, Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce, 34 West Main Street. Yep, this is the agreement that RAGBRAI requires of all the communities that they look to host their overnight towns in. We adopted this into basically a three-part agreement. Most of my peers across the state who end up hosting these just sign these things, even though it promises a lot of pieces that we frankly have no control over. And so we thought to adapt it a little bit to make sure that the city has protection and control over their components of it, while also outlining that our organization, really through our tourism efforts, are going to continue to serve as the primary organization to help facilitate. But I say all that to say that there's a tremendous number of volunteers working on it already, and will be a tremendous amount more as we get a little closer. And I'd be remiss if I didn't also point out that next Monday, April 20th, we're having 2 town hall events, both at the Coliseum, one from 5 to 6:30, which is kind of for businesses and nonprofits, and then one from 6:45 to 8, which is for the general public. And so it's going to be the start of us trying to roll out some of the details as they are getting put together, recognizing that we're still going to be back in front of you for ordinance and for kind of general permit approvals as we navigate through this process, but trying to put as many details out into the public as we can, so that frankly we can solicit some feedback as well and make sure that there's not something that we are not aware of or didn't catch or something like that. But yeah, plans are changing by the day, it seems, and so a lot of the components are starting to fall into place, but there's still a lot of work to do. So,
Does anyone have any questions for John? Thank you, John.
thank you.
Anything from the public? I can't talk. Let's have roll call, please.
Thompson,
Yes.
Yepes Gomez,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Fonseca,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to resolution number
Your
2.
Honor. Your Honor. So, regarding RAGBRAI, I'd like to, anybody that's willing to volunteer a yard or sleeping quarters, please feel free to contact me, because that's what we're working on right now.
Thank you.
I got a question. Do we know what streets are going to be blocked? Sorry. This is all new to me, I'm sorry. Do we know what streets are going to be blocked off yet, or anything like that?
I would suggest coming to the open house. We'll have more detail on the route
Okay.
and the expo area, which will be in the downtown area. So I would suggest coming there, and you'll get more detail.
Okay, do you know when that is?
It's next Monday.
Next Monday?
At the Coliseum. The public portion starts at 6:45.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to resolution number 2.
Resolution approving a settlement agreement with the City of Marshalltown versus CD Marshalltown and the authorization of the execution of the agreement.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, this is a proposed settlement agreement related to the city's current 657A action, which involves the former hospital property. The settlement agreement would resolve claims involving a lien holder, service master, and helps advance our efforts, the city's efforts, to obtain control of the property, reduce further litigation and delay, and move us closer to addressing the health, safety, and redevelopment issues associated with the property. The city's payment obligation that's included in the agreement is contingent on the city obtaining title through the 657A action.
Do we have any questions or comments? Anything from the public?
Lee Botter, 401 Orchard Drive. I know that we're all confident that we all agree this old hospital is an eyesore, and its decay has been a nuisance to our community. I understand and agree with getting the settlement for the local businesses operating in good faith by performing the necessary services, only to be taken advantage of when the current owner refused to pay his bills. I understand and support and want you guys to vote yes for getting the title via the 657A and paying this business. However, the questions that I have go beyond this. The questions that I've been hearing from others and for myself from my research is, what is the cost going to be? And if I can use the mayor's reference from his interview on KFJB, that was actually really good, is to knock it down. What is the cost going to be? not necessarily today, but please, if you can answer those for the public in the future, where are those dollars going to come from when we've already been dealing with budget issues? Is it a grant? Is it another bond? Is it lost? Is it cuts in the general fund? The issue that we all saw in the news regarding this past weekend on those two individuals that had to be transported to receive medical care for injuries, while I would say illegally be on the property, maybe I'm overspeaking boundaries there, but will the city be liable for any of the medical care or any potential lawsuits stemming from the not illnesses, but the injuries that they sustained while stemming from that activity? I personally hope, and others that I've talked to hope, that we will pursue legal action to obtain a lien on the assets of the current owner for costs we're having to absorb, because it could be a lot of money. I and others have heard by former leaders of the city that he's insolvent, this owner. I do encourage digging deeper into this issue because he does have assets, one of them being the Fox Ridge Public Golf Course. He does own a home on that golf course. I know the course is currently closed. The media has reported that he's in the process of trying to sell that course for $3.4 million. Even if we could only get a little bit of recovery, it would send a very good message, and it would be beneficial for our community as a whole. So thank you for looking at those issues in the future.
Thank you. Any questions or comments here?
I'd just like to make one quick comment that Service Master is not Service Master Marshalltown. It's very misunderstood. This is not the Naughton's business. This is an out-of-town Service Master.
Let's have roll call.
Fonseca? Yes. Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Yepes Gomez?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to number 3.
We have a public hearing and resolution approving fiscal year 2027 consolidated transit funding application for the Marshalltown Municipal Transit Program.
Okay, I'm going to declare the public hearing is open at 5:59 PM. Can I have staff review, please?
Yes. Kevin Pecora is Transit Administrator. So each year we apply for funding from the Iowa DOT to receive both state and federal funds for day-to-day expenses. So this year we're expecting $182,000 from the state and $397,000 from FTA. Again, this is just for day-to-day expenses.
Okay. Thank you. Have we had any written?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to close the public comment. Oh, anyone else from the public? Been a long day, folks. Hearing none, I'm going to close the meeting at 6 o'clock PM and move on to, for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions or comments up here? Roll call, please.
Yepes Gomez?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Fonseca? Yes. Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to number 4, please.
Public hearing and resolution providing for the vacation of West Lynn Street between 12th Street and 11th Street and approving the quitclaim deed to the Marshalltown Community School District.
Okay. I'm going to open the public hearing at 6 o'clock. Staff review.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Heather Thomas, Public Works. This item stems from a discussion that we had recently at City Council related to the area that I have highlighted on the screen at the Miller School area. This is an old section of Lynn Street for a lot of it and just a very short stub of Lynn Street for a portion of it. School district has acquired the properties on either side of the section of the current Lynn Street roadway, and we are recommending going ahead and vacating that property and quit claiming it to the Marshalltown's Community School District at a gifting price of $0. I think it's a $1 agreement, but any questions I'm happy to answer.
Okay. Do we have anything from the public? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:01 PM. Looking for a motion to approve.
I so move.
Yeah, I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments up here? Roll call, please.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Yepes Gomez,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Fonseca,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Okay, moving on to ordinances.
Ordinance 15114 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by repealing and replacing Chapter 90 Animals, third reading.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments up here? Anything from the public? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Cahill,
Yes.
Fonseca, yes. Mitchell,
No.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Yepes Gomez,
Yes.
Moving on to ordinance number 2.
Ordinance 15115 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa, Chapter 76, Traffic Schedules, Schedule 4, Stop Intersections, and Schedule 5, Yield Intersections, second reading.
I have a motion to approve.
I so move.
Second.
Heather Thomas, Public Works. This is the second reading of this ordinance. We went over kind of line by line at the first reading. So just high level, this is related to stop signs and yield intersections. Many of these changes have already been made in the field as it relates to the uncontrolled intersections from previous discussions. We also are proposing as part of this ordinance is the change of 18 yield intersections to stop control. And also removing stop signs at the intersection of Washington Street and South 2nd Street as a relation to the at-grade railroad crossing there near the Y. With that, I'd open it up for questions.
Anyone have any questions? Yes.
It's not a question, it's a comment, though, that as the change took place on South 6th Street and Merle Hibbs Boulevard, I heard many positive comments on the signage that was put up, the lighted signs, the flags, and someone commented that if somebody didn't stop, then they shouldn't be driving because you gave them plenty of notice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything from the public? Roll call, please.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Yepes Gomez,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Fonseca, yes.
Moving on to ordinance number 3.
Ordinance 15118 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa, Chapter 93, Parks and Recreation, Leisure, Section 93.001, Camping Time Limits Permit Fee, second reading.
I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Anything from the public? Roll call, please.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Yepes Gomez,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Fonseca,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Okay, moving on to ordinance number 4.
Ordinance 15119 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by amending Chapter 53 Stormwater, by amending Section 53.006 Rate Structure and Stormwater Rate, first reading.
Move for approval.
Second.
Heather Thomas, Public Works. This this ordinance is the first reading of a item related to discussion that happened at the last council meeting during the budget cycle. Our stormwater enterprise is funded through a utility rate that shows up on water bills. Currently, that is set at $4.20 per ERU or equivalent residential unit. This ordinance is to increase that from $4.20 per month to $4.60 $1,000.60 per month, and also includes a provision to increase that at a rate of 1% annually unless otherwise indicated by council. These rate increases would go in effect July 1 of each year, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions? Anything from the public?
Good evening, Tom Bianoli, 210 East Main Street. Small business owner, building owner. I would just implore you to try to limit how much burden you're putting on businesses and buildings. I opened another letter from a city today for a $300 fee. That makes $500 in the past week and a half. So by all means, try to just remember that these are real dollars, and eventually I'll have to pass that on to my businesses and tenants. So please keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Yepes Gomez?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Fonseca? Yes. Mitchell?
Yes. Okay, moving on to number 5.
The public hearing in ordinance 15116 to amend the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 156 zoning regarding accessory structure locations and zoning definitions, second reading.
Yeah, I'll call the public hearing open at 6:08 PM. Ayton.
Clayton Ender, Assistant Director, Housing Community Development. This ordinance clarifies that accessory structures are to be, detached accessory structures are not to be located in the front yard or street side yard. The current ordinance really only addresses not to be located in the front yard. And Planning and Zoning Commission felt it was important on those corner lots that we treat both sides similarly. Additionally, during review, we determined that there were no definitions of what the front yard is, what the lot lines are, so we're adding in some definitions so that enforcement is easier. With that, happy to answer any questions or go to further detail if needed.
Have we received any written comments?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything from the public? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing at 6:09 PM and move on to the ordinance.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Yepes Gomez?
No.
Cahill?
Yes.
Fonseca? Yes. Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
No.
Thompson?
Yes.
Okay, that passed.
Yes.
Okay, number 6.
Public hearing and ordinance 15117 to amend the City of Marshalltown Municipal Code by adopting the 2021 International Residential Code, including Appendix AF for radon control methods, second reading.
Okay, I'm going to declare this public hearing open at 6:10 PM.
Clayton Ender, Housing Community Development again. This is an ordinance that originated from Councilmember Yepes Gomez. This would require installation of a passive radon system with all new residential 1 and 2 family home construction here in town. Testing of the system would remain voluntary, and installation of a more of an active system would also remain voluntary. So it's just that passive system that we would be requiring with this ordinance. Able to go into further detail or answer questions if needed.
Okay. Have you received any public written comments?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Anyone from the public have any questions, comments? Not hearing any. I close the public hearing at 6:11 PM and looking for a motion to approve.
Make the motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Cahill,
Yes.
Fonseca,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Yepes Gomez.
Yes.
Moving on to discussion, concerns on Second Avenue between Main Street and State Street.
Yes, Your Honor. Downtown property owner Tom Dimerly has asked to appear before the council regarding the condition of the sidewalk on Second Avenue between Main Street and State Street. This is adjacent to his property. His concerns were outlined in a letter that was attached to the agenda item, but Mr. Dimerly is also here if he would like to speak to the matter to council in this meeting.
Once again, Tom Grimbley, 210 East Main Street, here in Marshtown. I'm here representing the ownership of the group that owns that building. One of my partners, my beautiful wife, is here with me tonight, possibly to keep me in line, along with the mayor. I promise I will be brief and quick. Hopefully you had a chance to review my letter. That is our perspective when it comes to this sidewalk. We feel like we have been more than active in trying to engage with the city, to leverage our dollars, to do something that was good for the public. So if I could, I'm just going to read real quick a couple of statements, and then I'll sit down and we'll have a conversation, perhaps. Again, thank you. One question that I had for Ms. Webb in my email that hasn't been addressed yet, but was in the mayor's, I'm going to be talking about real briefly, is the vacation bar alley next to our building. I'm not looking for any official. I'm just saying, it's been 3 years and now 3 weeks, Mr. Mayor. We haven't heard a peep on this. We're being asked to vacate an alley adjacent to our property, and nobody has come to talk to us about it, except for our neighbor, Farron Shuey, when he bought the Orpheum. At that time, we agreed verbally, yeah, we will vacate the alley, but we have some requirements. Since then, and since our discussion, Mr. Mayor, we haven't heard a peep. We're going on 3 years and 3 weeks. Come on. If we don't hear something by the end of this week, we will assume that is the stance of the city and begin legal action on our part to stop it. So please, somebody reach out to us. It isn't that hard. Okay? Thank you. On the sidewalk, like I said, we just kind of feel like we have been good partners. I have layouts that I can show you. We've reached out to the city. We talked to Bolton Mink. We talked to former staff. We talked to current staff in different roles multiple times over the years. My wife has talked to them. We came to Surrett's. Our name is on lists. I'm sure if you look, it's on video. We have tried for 6 years. 4 years since you announced a $7.9 million rehab in our neighborhood to try to use this lot as leverage to complement the city's investment in Gallery Garden and our neighbor's investment. Well, I'll tell you, when I have to reach out because bulldozers have pulled up in my front yard and asked about the status of a sidewalk that we tried to figure out what to do with, I will tell you it's disheartening. And frankly, it's infuriating. I don't feel like I should have to be up here at all tonight. But that's besides the point. It's about a sidewalk. It's about a sidewalk that doesn't cost that much. But I'm not willing to bear that expense after what we've gone through trying to partner with the city, and then ultimately, like I said before, pass that along to the small businesses who help us live and function. Our approach as business owners has always been, we're not trying to get rich. Let's find a happy medium for our tenants where they're successful. Because when they are successful, we are successful. And I'm successful in paying my taxes to you. So while this sidewalk doesn't cost that much, it costs a lot in emotional and political capital for us. I will not pay for the sidewalk. I don't have to pay for the sidewalk. The way this property is set up, we could all look very bad in the public eye after spending close to $8 million and leaving this 70-foot stretch of junk. But I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to take a financial hit because I will not pay for this sidewalk. And we will all look awful in the public eye when it's said and done. I appreciate the opportunity to address you tonight. It's been 3 years since I've addressed the public. And honestly, I'm a little nervous, and that's okay. I haven't felt nervous in a long time. So thank you. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions or comments? Direction?
Your Honor, I do have a question.
Yes.
For the Main Street project, there's no plan on Church to State for Second Ave? There's no, like, that's not part of the, right? Not a second. It was just center. Okay. Okay. Just checking. Don't remember all the plans.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes.
can I get an estimated cost of what the replacement of that sidewalk piece is?
I don't have an estimated cost. I don't know if we have that information yet. If council would like us to go back and take a look at that, we can come back to council with that information.
I'm trying to figure out if it's.
Like
Excuse me.
orders of magnitude.
I'm trying to figure out, is it a $2,000 job or a $50,000 job? A ballpark would be fine for me. I just am not real adept at concrete issues.
I kind of like the pun, personally. I would defer back to your petty expertise, but I discovered AI about 3 months ago. You can see it in my letter. That ballpark about 20K. 20,000. Or about, it was actually about 16, but I bumped it up for 20 for discussion purposes. I do that with everything. So, thank you.
Your Honor, I do have a question for Mr. Dimerly. Hi.
My physical therapist would be happy.
From reading your letter, did you mention something about a private-public partnership?
Yeah, from the get-go, that's how we approach this. We originally assumed we wouldn't own this lot when we bought it. We thought that in the long term, after it played out, I could probably use some of my experience in fundraising and grant writing to work with the city, and we would put up a lot and some cash, and we only wanted about 4 or 5 parking spots for our building, and then we thought it could be a public parking lot. At one time, we didn't get much traction on that, so we backed off, and we talked about just doing, like big, giant stone barriers in the right-of-way, or some kind of just low-cost, big impact aesthetic improvements. And we were told not to do that, to wait, because they would be torn out as a part of the construction project. That is why I'm up here tonight. I mean, does $20,000 make that big of a difference to us? Probably not. Does it make that big of a difference to our tenants? Probably not. It's a principle, guys. I mean...
Mr. Dimerly, is I can't remember if I saw this one on the MLS, but is this property listed for sale?
The property is currently listed for sale.
Okay.
My wife and I and our partners, we had a 5-year plan, and that was to invest in the property, leverage what we could, which we did. We got a code improvement grant through the city, which we appreciate. It was great. We tried to use a facade grant. We tried to help write a grant to do the full facade, and the city got the grant. But then we got a phone call that said, thank you for helping write the grant and researching and doing everything. You're not eligible. Your neighbor 2 blocks down the street is. We appreciate your help, but oh, by the way, have a nice day. That was a $100,000 phone call. And we moved on. I've had enough interaction with, not you all, but people in your shoes. I don't want to be up here any more than you want me in front of you. After 10 years, I had enough of it. But this is a matter of principle. I will not pay for the sidewalk. And that isn't me threatening or trying to hold you all hostage. It's a matter of principle.
Thank you. Those were the questions I had. Thank you.
My property is for sale, but that is a different lot than these two lots. I know you're in real estate. I don't have to mow and I don't have to pay taxes.
Okay. I was just asking because I couldn't remember if it was part of the.
Well, I don't want to go there.
Okay. Sounds good.
I really don't want to go there.
Okay.
And she may not let me go there. But right now,
you.
I'm willing to go there.
Okay.
Yeah, just looking for some direction. The city's policy has been for the adjacent property owner to pay for sidewalk repairs. Other options in this case are to cost share a sidewalk repair if Mr. Dimerly is willing to do that, or for the city to pay for the repair.
I do have one. I don't know if anybody else wants to speak first before I say something. So thinking about the other property owners, in the Main Street project, I don't know, I am trying to make it as fair for all the business owners down there to, if they have a sidewalk that is concerning, would this set a precedent for them to come out and ask us, okay, well, like, we'll do a private, public cost share, et cetera. I was thinking back to the one from, was it the Bowman and Miller building? There was something about that vault thing. I was not for that at all. So I don't know. I think I'd want to hear from everybody else how they feel on doing that. But it is true that, the Main Street's going to look really good, and then seeing the sidewalk look like that. But I don't know which other ones look like that as well. So.
Your Honor?
Yes.
So this is a question. So this is as much curb problem as it is sidewalk problem.
I think it's some curb problem. I'm looking at Heather if she wants to elaborate on the issues at hand here, but.
She's coming across the way, not near as big, but there's another busted out piece of sidewalk in front of Tallcorn Tower.
So I believe the area in question is going to be on the east side of 2nd Ave for the half block that is north of East Main Street. In that section itself, previously, when there was a building in the lot that is now vacant in a grass lot, that building had 2 overhead garage doors that included the driveways. So the area that is non-existent with curb right now is related to that driveway that used to serve that overhead door on that building. And so that building was demolished, I believe. I sent the information to Carol. I can't remember the exact dates. I want to say early 2010s, 2010, 2011. And at that time, they did not address removing the driveway apron, and that's continued to deteriorate. So yes, curb, I don't know if curb's the right word. It's more of like a driveway apron that is the worst part. And then also that sidewalk would have some ADA compliance issues as well.
Other comments? Direction?
Your Honor, I have a comment, please.
Yes.
I'm very torn on this. I appreciate Mr. Dimerly's stance, and not too many meetings ago, we voted to improve an alley, and I stood here and said, or I sat here and said, that was part of our downtown infrastructure. We should use our monies to improve that because that was part of our downtown look. I have a lot of the same feelings for this property here because I feel it is part of our downtown infrastructure, even if it is not in the area designated to be improved at this time. I feel we should find a settlement on this to improve our downtown area, not of who it is for or what how that needs to go, but I do feel if we want to tout our downtown area, and if we were all willing to vote to improve an alley for that, I think that we should take care of our streets as well. And I would appreciate either some type of an agreement, a cost sharing, if possible, to come up so that we can get this resolved. Thank you.
Would you like to make that in the form of a motion? Oh, go ahead.
Make a quick public comment. Lane Perry, 20 East State Street. I agree with that assessment that should be considered or opted into being part of this project. I also want to stress that it's not, at least to me, I don't think this should just be about how it looks. ADA compliance should be the most important thing that we're focusing on, and our sidewalks are rough. You know, and I'm not saying just because I'm worried about like the people that are on bikes. I mean, obviously they aren't in wheelchairs for the most part and can get around great, but we have a lot of people that are in walkers and wheelchairs and stuff. So any sidewalk that we have that's been degraded, we should really focus on making just being able to take a walk outside accessible. Thanks.
Your Honor,
Yes.
if we move on this, I think we might be setting precedents on the entire city with sidewalks, so I think we need to tread water.
Your Honor, may I answer to that?
As just acquire, Dalton Dilliam, 19 North Center Street.
Thank you.
As acquiring building that I have, I would have to agree that the alleyways are a big thing, especially with downtown, considering that the construction workers are driving their skid loaders and equipment through those alleys that are already damaged and deteriorating as is. So that is my statement on it.
Your Honor, if I may add another comment?
Sure.
Thank you. I do believe in looking at this just in the scope of the downtown area and the arteries that come off of that. I don't feel that we would be opening it up citywide. I think that this becomes part of a unique area, just like taking over the hospital area. We do what's right to make our community look better and to meet the guidelines of codes. We work with our partners in and the folks who live in our community, but we also have to come up and make that a true partnership.
Real quick, I didn't realize you have an 8-timer up right now. That's great. Real quick, just a thought. I know cost share has come up and partnership has come up, and we're very open to that. I mean, would the council be interested if we were to make the right-of-way available for aesthetic improvements permanently in exchange for improving the sidewalk, and we will walk that into our building? Because the reality is, this lot, you probably aren't putting up a new structure on it. It will probably serve the building in some capacity long term. We don't feel like by making that right-of-way available and doing some aesthetic improvements that we would maintain, wherever it would be negating the value of the building. It would add to it. So we would make that property available and still help write grants or do whatever to make those aesthetically pleasing as much as possible. Let's face it, we're not building a gallery garden. But we can do something that we don't detract from it. So if that would be of interest, we would certainly be open to something like that. Thank you.
Okay, what do we got going?
Your Honor, I propose that we have Carol and Tom do some discussion and see what kind of a compromise agreement we could come up with that supports, because I much stronger support fixing a street area here than I would an alleyway. Even though I understand the alleyways get a lot of foot traffic.
So you're talking about the alleyway?
No. I'm talking about this street And I'm just saying, I support this kind of thing as being more
To
important.
repair the sidewalk.
Well, that Carol and Tom get together, see what kind of compromise, what kind of agreement they can work on, and then bring that back to council.
Yeah, I wouldn't be committing support to anything right now, but I would be interested in seeing what we could come up with to benefit the city and the residents of the downtown and the people who shop downtown and the aesthetics of everything in something. So I wouldn't mind seeing a plan.
Can we consider that a motion, or?
Hold on, just,
I don't know if it's appropriate for me to bring this up or not, but it is currently in the plan that you guys have implemented. So I'm going to go to our city website real quick and just share what is out and available. Community, if you go to community plans on our city website, we do have a downtown master plan and implementation plan. If you click on the plan report, I believe it's page 18, but I'm going off memory here. It's been a little bit. There we go. 16, sorry. So this area that we're currently talking about is just north of Main Street, between 2nd and 3rd Ave. So we are right in this area on the mouse. So we're in phase 8 of the plan, which currently does include sidewalks in the downtown implementation plan.
Your Honor, may I ask a question, a follow-up with that?
sure.
When that is phase 8, what is the time frame allotted for that? Is that 4 years down the road? Is that, I don't know how the schedule looks for that.
That's all council direction. Council will have to weigh projects and priorities to determine how quick and at what level phases happen. Obviously, we are currently, going back to that map, we're currently in phase 2 with our current project.
But we can look at the plan, what's planned for it, and see if there is an opportunity to work with Mr. Dimerly on addressing this issue now.
And even beyond that, if we could come up with some sort of shared use, if you guys are willing to hang on to it, I think we could incorporate that as well. So.
Are there any other yeses?
Was there a formal motion made yet?
Yeah, let's make a formal one.
Direct city staff to work with the Dimerlys to see how we could propose to incorporate this into phase 8, and then council will determine where phase 8 actually falls on the chronological scale.
I'll second the
second that.
motion. Yeah.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mitchell? Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Yepes Gomez?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Fonseca?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number 2, business outdoor seating license.
Yes, Your Honor. So this item is a staff initiative. What we're looking for is moving something forward to a first reading of a new ordinance that would establish business outdoor seating licenses for businesses in the downtown and on 13th Street district that want to operate outdoor seating on public property. The proposal is prompted by, we have one pending request for outdoor seating in the downtown area, but we anticipate that with the redevelopment of Main Street that we'll receive additional outdoor seating requests. We wanted to, and this is common for cities to do this, create a process and some standards for the uses so that the city can support this activity, create an inviting downtown area, but also protecting the city, pedestrian access, safety, and the city's use of the public right-of-way.
Questions or comments about this? Some direction?
I'd support looking into this and laying out the guidelines and process of what would be required.
Does anyone disagree with that?
I agree.
We'll move it forward. Thank you very much.
Okay, number 3, franchise. Oop. Is there any public comments about that? I was moving too quick. Seeing none. Oh, here we go.
Amy Dimerly Snyder, Lily May Chocolates, 209 North 13th Street. We are in favor of this, honestly. When we reopened in 2020, we were kind of surprised that there wasn't a requirement anymore, because when we were open in the downtown area, there was a requirement. The question I have is, when you read through the specifics of it, it seems excessive. And when I say excessive, getting the permissions of the neighbors seems, especially in a commercial environment, a retail environment, restaurants, that seems like excessive. It also seems excessive that it has to come before City Council for approval. In the past, it was just, you submitted it to the city clerk, and then it was city staff that would approve it. So it just seems kind of silly to me, and a waste of resources, that it would have to come before City Council. But we have no problem with, applying for a license and paying that. I think it makes sense.
I think it would be great to get a business perspective on this before we brought it forward for adoption. So if Amy's willing, maybe I can work with her to sort of think through something that we could make this less onerous, but still meet the same objective.
I was just going to echo what Amy said. I think it should be at the administrative level, the approval, and I guess just kind of leave it into like the business and the administration.
Hi, Megan Lamphere, Tannin Wine Bar, 125 East Main Street. So first of all, just want to thank you, any of you that come to Tannin. Part of me does support this, but part of me does not. My husband and I, we both work our full-time jobs, so we are extremely busy, plus we are parents of 3 daughters, so we are very busy. So finding time, and Alicia knows as well, she's like, get me your liquor license stuff. I'm like, I'm coming, I promise. But we're very, very busy, and so this is like, when she sent me this, I was like, oh my God, it's one more thing I have to do. And I just, and my kids are like, Mom, I need you to sign this. And I'm like, that's one more thing I have to do. So this is one more thing I have to do. And it just makes it's one more thing. And like Amy said, it's asking, okay, I would have to go to Barb, and that's one more thing I have to do is go to Barb Hagstrand, and I don't want to do that. And so we work our full-time jobs. I'm going to be raw. There's a lot of money that we have to put into the business ourselves. And so it's another $75. Okay, fine. Yeah, $75 for 3 years. People are like, that's nothing. Well, yeah, no, it's nothing. But still, that's still more money that we're having to put into the business. We take nothing out of our business. Let me read over my stuff. With this year, it's not going to make a hill of beans to us. We're not putting our furniture out anyways because nobody wants dust and dirt in their wine or their food, so we're not doing it. And people love our outdoor seating, especially when we have the parades. Homecoming, I have parents a month in advance. I need to reserve seating. And I do remember at one point when they were discussing doing the downtown that they would do bump outs for us, some of us. I don't know if that's ever, I don't know what happened to that, but I just feel like it's one more thing that's holding us back to operate. I have very small space on the inside, and this just gives us a little extra space on the outside in the nicer months, and it's a huge benefit for us, huge. People want to go outside. If we had the money, we would build a new building, and we would have outdoor seating, we would have rooftop seating, we would have all the awesome things that people love to go to. Gary and I always do that. We'll go to other towns, and we're like, hey, look, they have a rooftop bar, let's go there. I was talking to a couple different lawyers in town, and they said this is a moot issue right now. Completely moot issue, because we are tearing up the downtown. So why do we even care? I can't put my furniture out anyways. And are the sidewalks even going to be big enough to put furniture out. You know, I put my furniture out, and I also put my, my fencing stuff out too. And this really, it brings people downtown. So this, as me, as a business owner, I'm discouraged. So am I going to take the time to contact all my neighbors I already do the insurance thing, I already do the alcohol thing, I do all that stuff, but am I going to go further on? So it was, to us, it was just a little bit more. And yeah, so, thank you.
Thank you. I do think that's a good idea to have private business also. Sometimes we don't see both sides of the coin. Okay.
Your Honor, I have a question for our city administrator. Carol, right now, is there nothing for outdoor seating, or what's the rule right now?
We don't really have regulations for that. We have our alcohol licensing, those kinds of things for outdoor service, but nothing, nothing else really at this time.
Okay.
I think we can work with the business owners to really make it, it's not intended to be onerous, you know, and so it'd be very helpful to get your input on the ordinance and Amy's input as well.
Okay, sounds good. And could we also add other businesses, the Main Street?
If I have contacts, yeah, I could reach out to the MCBD maybe.
MCBD,
Yeah.
13th Street. Okay,
They're
sounds
enter
good.
13th Street too.
I would be for that. That'd be good.
So we have the end of that, right? All right. Moving on to franchise fees and payments in lieu of taxes or pilots.
So this item, I'm presenting for further council discussion and some direction regarding some possible next steps related to the utility franchise fee and something that council may or may not be familiar with called a payment in lieu of taxes. That's for municipal utilities. Some policy options for discussion this evening include whether do you want to even pursue a franchise fee? If so, which utilities would you like to include? What would you want to include in a revenue purpose statement? And whether you would want to move forward by council adoption or by election. And then we can talk a little bit more about what a pilot is and, what it would look like in terms of charging that for the city utilities.
Who would like to take first bite?
So the first question is, does council want to consider the franchise fee? And if so, at what percent and for what utilities?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, so I support the franchise fee as a way to supplement the general fund. Whether that's for public safety, I think there's another allowed usage for fire. I think those are the easiest ways to supplement our general fund. And then I guess just my full opinion on it is also the pilot, maybe use it more as a backup if the franchise fee fails. But that's just kind of how I feel about this.
Who else has an opinion here?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I think we better dedicate certain areas, put it towards road use and keep it as road use and not put it in the general fund. I think the people would be more apt to vote it in if you put it in for roads.
Other comments?
Lane Perry, 20 East State Street. Could I just get a real quick refresher on what a franchise fee is?
I'll let you.
Sure. It's a charge added to your utility bill, essentially based on your amount of usage for your utility.
Cool.
It's a fee. Yeah.
Okay, cool, thanks.
And it would replace the 1% sales tax extra fee that's on it now. So whatever is picked here is going to still obsolete that 1% that's on top.
That's correct. Yes.
May I follow up on that, Your Honor?
Yes.
And my understanding is that 1% is just on those bills. It's not the entire 1% lost. It's not the entire lost program, just on what was on the franchise or on the utility
That's
bills.
correct. That's correct.
Thank you.
So real quick clarification, is this a one-for-one trade-off, or what is the motivation for doing the pilot?
It would depend on what percentage of franchise fee that you wanted. If you, 1% is basically offset, the local option offsets the local option sales tax. So if you were going to do a 2 or 3% fee, there would be a franchise fee, there would be additional revenue on top of that 1%.
It's up to the counselor's discretion on where they want to put the franchise fee at.
We are also one of the very few communities in Iowa that don't have one of communities our size. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I remember that from the last franchise fee discussion. If we're going to go franchise fee, I'd say gas and electrical. I think given our general fund pressures we have and ones that we look like we're going to have, I think we need to, the revenue purpose statement needs to be for probably public safety. I suppose the opening gambit would be 3%.
Other opinions?
Hi, Lane Perry, 20 East State Street. My concern, I understand why you wanted to select gas and electric. I just worry that because those are things that are going to be increasing in cost a lot, probably, that if there's a percentage fee on that, that might become not super bearable. So I might suggest something that's not held up in the straight right now. Thanks.
Just for council's benefit, a 3%, these are a little bit dated numbers, they're from 2023, but a 3% electric franchise fee would generate about $1.17 million in revenue, and a 3% gas franchise fee would generate about $416,000 in revenue.
Your Honor, Carol, does that reduce the 1% out of that?
That 1% of that would be local option sales tax. It would offset.
I mean, your total revenue, is that including the fact that we don't have the 1%? So is there an offset there?
There's an offset, yes.
Do you have any direction here?
Well, I'd support Jeff's approach on this for 3% max and utilities, gas and electric only. And if I understand correctly, to take a 60% vote of the citizens to get it passed.
It's 60% if there's a reverse referendum. We can pass it at council, and then it has to be petitioned by the public to come back, I believe, if we take that direction.
That's right. So this can't be put on the election this year. This, I think I mentioned that in the memo, that this year, the even years is off limits to this type of election. So if council wanted to have if council wanted to have some decision this year on this item, it would need to go through the council ordinance process and then be petitioned to a vote. Otherwise, it would be placed on the election for next year.
Your Honor, me?
Yes.
And a special election would be like $15,000 to $20,000?
I think that's about right. Yes.
Any other opinions?
Your Honor, could I, Carol, can you give us a little bit more information on the pilot, kind of how that would
It's
work?
basically a franchise fee for municipal utilities. This is common in Iowa to make transfers from a municipal utility to the general fund to cover things that when you don't pay taxes that you're paying for, that you're getting, services that you're getting. And so, I just sort of was thinking if you did a 3% like you would proposing for franchise fee, I question whether or not we'd want to do this for stormwater, given that we're raising rates for stormwater right now. But we could look at it probably for wastewater. Certain criteria need to be met to be able to do the transfer. But we could look at doing something like that from the wastewater fund.
Okay, and just wondering, like, could both be implemented, just at a different?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say the barriers to doing a pilot are much lower than what they would be for doing a franchise fee.
Okay. I would be interested in seeing like what they would look like and the numbers and kind of like of both. Yeah, and seeing like the pros and cons and things.
Sure.
Yeah, because the pilot I hadn't got too much information on that one. So thank you for bringing that up.
So we have some folks who are looking, I've got gas and electric, both at 3%, with the revenue purpose statement focused on public safety. I would recommend that some of it go to property tax relief to offset what would be lost in lost revenue that goes to property tax relief. So that would be something I would recommend that you do if you decide to move forward on this.
I would support that as well.
Okay, does anyone disagree with this? Harry, you disagree? Okay. Marco, you agree? Sue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on just a minute. Don't wrap up just yet. I want to look at my memo here. We talked about revenue purpose statement. So what process does council wish to follow in consideration of the franchise fee? The first one is the council adoption, and the option 2 is refer to city election vote.
I'd say council adoption.
Okay.
Can I clarify, Mr. Mayor? You said if the council adopts it, then citizens have the right to petition for a special election. Is that correct?
That's correct, yep.
But it is not mandatory that they do that?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Petition is what, 75 some percent or 75 people or what?
I knew you were going to ask that. I don't remember. I don't remember now.
I think it's 10%. 10%
Yeah,
of the
okay.
voters.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so right now I have 3%, both utilities, council adoption, property tax relief, and public safety. Anything else?
That's what I've heard, unless I hear a
But
difference.
there's also, we wanted the comparison with a pilot and how maybe that, moving forward with that versus the franchise fee or both. Or some
It won't generate near the revenue that a franchise fee would. I want to say I calculated 3% on waste. I want to say it was like 250,000. It was something like that.
I think I'd just rather save city staff time and not investigate the pilot at this point. Let's just move forward with the franchise fee. Do you want a motion for all of this, Your Honor?
Sure.
Okay. So I'll make the motion to direct staff to draft the documents for franchise fee for gas and electric, 3%, public safety, property tax relief as the revenue purpose statement, and bring it forward for council ordinance.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a second. Anything from the public?
Lee Botter, 401 Orchard Drive. I want to give us a little history perspective here. When this was presented for the vote in September 2023, the election results were 76.7% were no, 23.3% was yes. There was a mailer that was put together and mailed to citizens, as well as lots of yard signs promoting the yes vote. Councilman Schneider was part of that process. There were also yard signs promoting the no vote. Those that said no were criticized by a prior council and a prior mayor for asking questions on where the dollars were going to be spent. So thank you, Carol, for saying this is the revenue purpose statement. The other issue centered on the increased cost due to utilities would be passed to consumers as a cost of doing business. So I echo Mr. Deimerle's comment earlier about how is this going to impact the businesses, and those costs would have to be passed to the consumer. How is this going to impact seniors, our disabled, our veterans, and those on fixed incomes? There was a local businessman back in '23. I want to read to you part of his quote. The downside is we will not see many investment of business that would consider Marshtown as an option to move their business here. The community is already one of the highest tax communities per capita. In fact, we may see businesses move from this community due to not being able to compete within their industry. That is of concern. We're trying to grow our community. Will this prevent and cause a problem for our community? This businessman, he does own a local manufacturing site here in town. I do encourage you to move forward, be transparent, and very specific on what the purpose is for these fees. Be very, very specific, because if you're not, I anticipate that the general public will come back and say, wait a minute, time out. It's no. So please be specific. I would love to see the idea between the pilot and the franchise fee, because I don't know anything about a pilot. So as a public member, I would request that additional information. And it was a great idea, Councilman Fonseca. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Anyone else from the public? Roll call, please.
Fonseca? Yes. Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
No.
Yepes Gomez?
Yes.
Cahill?
No.
Okay. Motion passed, and with that, we are at the end of our meeting. Meeting adjourned at 6:58.
It was a little off myself.
Take your autograph picture.